Hello, this is a screencast which is the first in a series of short explanations of all the elements of the business model canvas. More information about the business model canvas you can find on the website businessmodelgeneration.com, and also thanks to the people that generated the business model canvas for giving it to us under a Creative Commons license. So, if you look at the business model canvas, which is here in the top left-hand corner, the central one is value proposition. And value proposition is maybe also the most difficult or vague of all the elements of the business model canvas. This is what I found out when I first worked with a friend of mine, and she gives a shiatsu massage, and we filled in the business model canvas together. And one of the things that she put as the value proposition is really about the techniques of the massage. What does it do? And that's what she initially put as the value proposition, and also as what she thought she should communicate to her customers, as this is what I do. And when we discussed it further, we came to the conclusion that it's not so much about the things that she does, or that she should tell her potential clients about all the things that she can do, but she has to tell them about the effect. What she does is the shiatsu, but what she delivers to her customer is that they feel relaxed, or more some of their health problems are solved, these kind of things. So it's not the key activity. So this is one of the things that we ran into during practicing filling in the business model canvas, and when talking to other people, we found out this is a common mistake. So people think that what they do is their value proposition, but it's not. The value proposition is what you mean or deliver to your customer, or as it's put in the explanation of the business model canvas, a value proposition creates value for a customer segment through a distinct mix of elements catering to that segment's needs. Is that vague? Well, so the key aspect is the customer segment. There can be different customer segments, and they can have different value propositions as a result. And you give them several things to meet their needs. So meeting the client's needs is of course one of the key aspects of your value proposition. So there can be different ways of achieving that. So they can be quantitative, things that you can measure, also in that sense that you can communicate to your client, as in measurable, I doing this better than they do, or they can be qualitative, so it can be in terms of design or customer experience. And as we see already, this is again the list. What can be key aspects of a value proposition? The list is very long, and often also it's possible that things are mixed, just not one or two, not just one of these elements but more. So newness, for example, to have the newest iPhone. Performance, to do better than others in getting a certain job done. So to have more speed, or to have something else that you're doing better. Customization, so the possibility to make something special for the client. So this can be either, for example, in size, for people who want to be able to adjust to the size, but it can also be more in a fashionable way to get it so it's really yours. Or it can simply be getting the job done. Now that can be one of the key aspects. Okay, you need a job done, and just that it's out of your to-do list, or that is not on your mind, can be key. Design is a much more softer aspect of a value proposition, but can be very important for the customer or customer segment. Brand and status is in the same category. Price can be really important, and cost reduction. And you might think, what's the difference between price and cost reduction? Well, for a consumer, price, but cost reduction can also mean so that overall the cost can be reduced, not so much as in the buying price, but for example, including the maintenance cost, or when you have like a series of things that have to be done, so that it's not so much about the initial price but the overall cost. So price and cost reduction can, of course, they're in the same kind of field, but they're not the same thing. Risk reduction. I used to work in the industry that supplied to, amongst others, oil and gas companies. If you talk about offshore, where there's of course much more risks than on land, then you have much more safe equipment, and it's also very easy to ask much higher price for that. So risk reduction is a very important factor there. Accessibility, can you get to it, or convenience, for example, that you can get food on the place where you are without having to travel. So for example, on the station, other on-the-go facilities, and usability. So there's lots of things that can be part of this value proposition, and depending on your product or your service, you have to find out what they are. A few examples. So it's quite easy to see the difference in value proposition between a budget hotel and a luxury hotel. The budget hotel is well, more in the sense of getting the job done. You can sleep, you can maybe have breakfast, but it's completely functional. Whereas the luxury hotel provides you with an experience, and maybe with a certain status, even by being able to say, well, we've been at the such and such. But also the experience for yourself is important. The bottom two pictures are design chairs and fake design chairs. For the bottom one, this is the fake one, and for these I must say that I actually forgot. I can't see directly which one is the fake one and the original. Of course, the design in itself and the knowledge that you have an original piece of design furniture can be very important, whereas other people say, well, I just like the way it looks, but I don't want to pay that maximum price, and I don't care about the status, I don't care about if people see that I have a cheap knockoff, so I don't mind about it. But there's again, these are pieces of furniture with a different value proposition. Another example is the sports car. A sports car, at first sight you might think the value proposition is based on performance. It can go really fast. But if you look at the sports car, there are other elements that play a role in the value proposition. So for example, comfort. The different sports cars, some of them are really where you have the experience of a race car with not so much suspension, really sports wheel and other things, whereas with other types of sports cars it's more, for example, about the design. And then again, so even within the field of field is not the right word, but so in the category of sports cars there's loads of different options, and of course Jeremy Clarkson will be happy to tell you how, what and why you should choose certain options. But so the different types of cars make different combinations within the value proposition, and that's how they, even though they seem to be most of them based on performance, that is not just how they stand out against each other. So to make it again go towards a summary, so the value proposition is really in the middle. It has a lot to do with relating to all the other elements of the business model canvas, but the relation to the customer segment is one of the most important, is the most important one. So to recap, value proposition creates value for a customer segment through a distinct mix of elements catering to that segment's needs. Remember, if you can have more than one segment, so you can offer more than one value proposition. One of the pitfalls is to think that your key activities are your value proposition. And just a reminder, precise wording pays off. So there's a difference between, well, let's say offering value for money and offering, well, of course now I don't have a good example.